Hello YouTube, I'm revisiting the X52 today, this time modded with the magnet mod and tension spring mod, and I'll discuss those in a minute. But first, I wanted to kind of show you a glimpse of Star Citizen. And notice how my yoke is moving, but my ship really isn't. My throttle is moving up and down on the screen, but I'm not moving. I could not get the X52 to work consistently in Star Citizen. I did get it to work for a little bit, but it was intermittently. It would work for a minute or two in Vandal Swarm, and then it would stop working again in the middle of the match. And I had control over my RCS thrusters and roll via twist on the axis, and that was it. And I tried switching ports. I tried using powered USB hubs, non-powered USB hubs, back USB panel, front USB panel, and it just never would work consistently. So I plugged it into Elite Dangerous to see if it was the stick or Star Citizen. Turned out it was Star Citizen. I don't know what else to say there other than, maybe next time. So let's look at the X52 modded in Elite Dangerous. Now, I gave the X52 unmodded an absolutely scathing review. And I still do not recommend purchasing this stick brand new off the shelf. Or it's a little bit more expensive, a little bit better quality X52 Pro counterparts. The reason being is to make these sticks, either one of them, to the accuracy and precision level that one would expect at paying that price, requires the voiding of the warranty in order to do the magnet mod. Now, this is a fairly inexpensive and simple mod. The magnets themselves cost about $10 off Amazon.com. They're neodymium magnets. You want 12 millimeter by, I believe, 3 millimeter, or ½ inch by 1/8 inch if you're in the United States. And I think they recommend, most people say N45, maybe N35 strength. I used N48 strength magnets, and it might have caused a little bit of a sintering issue, but the accuracy is very much there. And then I furthermore did a tension mod in which I took a ½ inch IPS faceplate. This is something that normally you put around a shutoff valve on a toilet or a sink or something like that to hide the hole in the drywall, essentially. And you can buy these replacement plates at Home Depot or Lowe's or any home improvement store for about $2. They're made of plastic. They break apart so you can shove them around an existing pipe. And you put it kind of, turn it on upside down and put the part that sticks up into the base of the stick, and it adds that just extra amount of tension to take care of the slop that was there initially. So the magnets take care of the stick's dead zone problem around the center. There's still a noticeable dead zone, but it's just nowhere near like a ½ inch like it was, in maybe a ½ centimeter or so now with the magnet mod. And the tension takes away the pure slop of the stick and gives it a little bit more rigidity, which I think it feels better. Whether or not you want to do the tension mod or not, I think that's a lot of personal preference. I liked it a lot better that way. Other people may not so much. Again, that's a personal preference thing, but you have to do the magnet mod, and doing the magnet mod on a new stick will void your warranty. And the problem there is the X52 is just, especially after the Mad Catz buyout in 2009 of Saytech, just has quality control issues. And therefore, I just can't really recommend anybody buying those sticks new off the shelf, because it requires a warranty voiding mod to make it a decent stick. So if you can find one used off eBay where you don't care about voiding the warranty so much, it's worth looking at, because it is a decent HOTAS, I think, modded under $100 usually. So that's something worth considering. Now, I think we're going to go into combat here in a minute. I don't know if I'm on my way quite yet, but we'll engage in some combat here. And with the mods, I felt it was accurate and precise enough. I did find myself lacking buttons on the throttle. I wish it had more controls there compared to the CH stick. The CH stick, while not perfect, just has a lot more functionality built into it than the Saytech throttle. That being said, the ergonomics of the throttle are great. The multifunction display where you can have 2 or 3 time zones is very nice, because if you have people, say, in Central European time, GMT, and somewhere in the US or your local time, you know, you can set those 3 different time zones so you know, hey, it's 8 o'clock at night when it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, where, you know, here in the States somewhere. And that's kind of nice to know if you're dealing with a global organization. Also, it has a timer feature, so it'll count up. So let's say you're in a game where time on target, or I should say time over target, is very critical, as in you only want to be in a system for about 5 minutes before reinforcements show up and are going to give you a really bad time. Well, you can set this thing off and say, okay, we've been here for 3 minutes. We've been here for 5 minutes. Time to get out of here, guys. So if you're coordinating a hit and strike, a hit and run strike or something of that nature, those are all some nice features. Now, it also has some nice toggle switches on the base of the stick, which in flight sims are great for toggling things like flaps, landing gear. They had it set up by default to set your fire groups, which, I don't know, I like to have fire groups actually on the stick. And if I spend some more time adjusting some of the keybinds on the stick, this probably wouldn't be quite as big of a deal. So keep that in mind when I'm saying this. But here we are in combat, and I thought that its performance was adequate. The 8-way hat on the thumb, or on the middle finger on the throttle, that I used for strafing thrusters, or set up to use for strafing thrusters, it's okay, but with the mini stick on the CH throttle, it's variable since it's a full analog stick. So you can thrust a little bit or you can thrust a lot. Here it's all or nothing. And also it's kind of awkward to articulate with my middle finger. I guess you could articulate it with your first finger, but then you lose the button on top. You have to then not be strafing to use the button on top, which I forget what is bound to. I think I did switch that and the boost, and had the boost where my thumb kind of naturally goes. I think it's button 7 or something like that. So at under $100 for a used stick off eBay, and another $10 to $15 for mods to make it a decent, worthwhile option, I'm going to have to revisit this one and say maybe the X52 wasn't quite as bad as I initially gave reviews for once modded. It's certainly acceptable. I think it's up there on par. It's certainly better than the T-Flight X, which is normally a $50 HOTAS. It's just I would not buy one of these new. I would shy away from new. If you can find one used for under $100, preferably under $80, it might be worth looking at. And again, you're going to have to be willing to void the warranty to make it a worthwhile stick. So keep those two things in mind. I hope people kind of find this revisit a little bit more useful as they go about making their decisions, and I will be coming out with a 2014 buyer's guide for Christmas later on this year. So be sure to like, subscribe, share the video, and you'll be seeing that video as it comes out probably in the middle of November, in which I will look at the X55 as well as the Warthog, hopefully. Now, usually I borrow a friend's Warthog to do a review on that, so I'll hopefully get it again here in about a week or so, over a weekend, and get to borrow it, or for a week actually, while my friend's a civil aviation pilot, so he'll be busy flying. I think it's next week. He's out doing his flights for, I think, 6 days, and he logs however many hours he has to fly in about those 6 days. So I'll get to borrow his stick again to hopefully do a Warthog video review. So thank you very much, and see you next time.